So now, let's go into the heart of the conversation here. How do you start, right? How do you get yourself started, right? So today I'm going to use an example of a multifamily, let's say 20 units or larger. The reason I'm using that is because multifamily tend to have a lot of work to do, a lot of expenses to cover. So if you have a smaller property or if you have something that is less, you can either combine or reduce the expenses. I want to give you a bigger aspect of managing the property. Okay? So let's say, for example, if you buy or intend to buy a commercial property with triple net, you still have all the expenses. The good thing about that triple net is all the expenses will pass through to the tenant. You get monthly rent, and then every quarter you send out the expenses to the tenant. If you buy normally anyone that want to buy a property that's absolutely hands off, then you probably want to look for a property with single tenant, like a McDonald's, Jack in the Box, or a Carl's Jr. Those are single tenant, absolute triple net. Starbucks, yeah. So all your expenses will be will be covered by the tenant. Every month you just get a check. So that is the absolute triple net. That is cash flow. So you don't have to worry about any maintenance, any work to do. Usually, the return is quite small. They give you like 3-4%. But anyway, that's if you are looking for. For me, I look for something that has good potential that I can grow a lot bigger. I want to double my income, in a short period of time. So if you buy a industrial warehouse, normally those are called modified goods. The landlord will cover the roof, the foundation, and the structure of the building. Then the tenants pay you the monthly rent, and then whatever the rest of the expenses they cover, they take care of themselves. At the end of the day, it depends on what your lease is, how your lease is structured. Your lease agreement is very important. That covers everything that at the end of the day, whatever you do your lease agreement governs entire process, between you and your tenant. So the lease agreement is very important. So how do you go about looking for a good potential property? How do you ensure the property will make cash flow? So that is really the key. When you buy a property, that's the true question that you're going to ask yourself. So I'm going to share with you my experience because it works for me for 20-some years. And I buy property almost every year or every other year. So to start with, you want to look for property that price below the market. When I'm saying the price below the market, is you have to calculate the number to know. Because if the real estate agent tell you that, hey, this property is below the market, you don't know what it means. The price below the market is how you see how the number works. I would look for property that has untapped income potential, the property that have physical problem or deferred maintenance. Now, when I say price below the market, is normally I buy property that's off market, it's not listed. But doesn't mean off market is a good deal. Doesn't mean that. You're gonna have to understand one of the quickest eyeball to see the property is you look at the market rent versus the current rent. So for example, let's say if you buy a 100 units apartment and the market rent for a 2-bedroom is $2,200 and the current rent the landlord is renting for $18. Immediately you know that you have $400 per unit, and you times 100. That's what? That's 40,000. No, 4,000. That's almost 48,000 a year. Yeah. So that is the easiest way to eyeball. Also, when I look at a property, I always look at what I see to monetize the property where the current landlord does not see. the property usually has deferred maintenance, has a lot of problem, termite and all that, tend to be the property that owner own those property for many, many years. They are tired of managing it, or they don't want to put any more money. And I see that as a diamond in the rough. I usually look for this kind of property. I look for property that I can monetize. In any way, I can increase the rent roll. Now, having said that, a lot of people say, well, I'm going to set my rent very high. That's not the way to do it. The way to do it is to make sure that you provide value for your tenant. Value is the key. Value meaning that you provide amenity. If you want to charge $20, $30 more than your neighbor rental, you make sure that you have the value. The tenant will pay for it if you provide the value. Let's say, good example would be if I'm looking for a property that's 100 units and has a huge parking lot. I know there's potential. I can monetize the property by perhaps I add a pet playground for tenant who has pet, and I can charge like $30, $40 a month more. They're willing to pay because their pet has a place to go. Or I can build a storage area that I can charge extra $30, $50 a month. Or I can build, nowadays we drive a lot of electric car. I can drive a electric charging station. Then I can charge a little bit more. So in order for you to increase the rent, you make sure that you increase the value. Because otherwise, you're in trouble. Your vacancy, you'll have more vacancy.
Do you stay away with rent control area?
Well, if you ask just mainly say, if you ask just in general question, I would say yes, but there's always pros and cons on both sides. California, Southern California is where I live. I know the law. I always on top of the law. I know how to manage my properties. So throughout this pandemic, throughout all this rules and regulation from the state to the city, I understand it. I'm doing fine because I take care of my tenant. I treat them as I would move in there. So really, I would tell you in any way, shape or form, take care of your tenant. They are the reason you're in business. So I would not say, I would say, I'm not worried about it. But a lot of people would sell all their property, move to a red state, right? Exchange from California to Texas or Arizona. For me, I love it here. I manage myself, so I'm doing fine. So what are the ways to grow income? Really, you want to grow your income, you want to reduce expenses, so you have high net operating income. See, what I just say earlier, you want to take care of your existing tenant. They are the reason you are in the business. Don't always try to chase a new tenant and don't look at your current tenant. They are the reason you're in the business. So you always have to take good care of them, responsible. If they have problem, try to send a handyman over and take care of them. Now, let's say you have a tenant that need to clear a toilet. You take 48 hours to get there. They're gonna get pissed off. They're gonna move. See, once the tenant moves, you're gonna have to have so many things to have to spend and lost, money and everything else. So take care of your current tenant. For me, that is utmost important. Return the phone call, return the email. Of course, you want to increase occupancy. Increase occupancy is important. Right now, there's a social media that you can advertise versus in the old time newspaper ad. It costs a lot more money. It takes very long time. Social media is very quick. Social media is one of the ways to increase occupancy. That will tie in with taking care of your customers. Also, you don't have much turnover. Then it's easier for you to focus on that. Now, turnover vacancy. A lot of landlords, they tend to busy doing one thing and they are not look at if I have a tenant give me the 30-day or 60-day notice to move, immediately I would probably I would go in, would do a inspection before they move out, because then I would know what I need to do. So before once they move out, I would send a crew in there and turn around in 2 days, the property back ready, rent condition. Think about this, if you have an apartment or an apartment that's vacant, let's say it's $1,800 a month, that's $60 a day. You just waste those $60, you lose $60 a day. So I always make sure that my unit is rent ready once the tenant moves out. So in case you have any phone call, anybody want to see, I can show them right away. I can make a deal. Also, I always talk to my tenant the reason if they are giving me notices, I will ask them, what's the reason of moving? A lot of times they will tell you. They say, I pissed off your manager. He's so rude and all that. See, those are little things, and then you can correct them. My tenant give me notices. I talk to them. Sometimes they will say, okay, I'm glad that you on top of this. Yeah, I'm going to stay. So that saves you a lot of money and cost. Location. Now this is a very important fact. A lot of landlords tend to not understand how to price a location of the unit. Let's say you have 10 3-bedroom, 10 2-bedroom, 10 1-bedroom. Now, they price all the 3-bedroom the same price. 2-bedroom, all 2-bedroom the same price, and 1-bedroom, all 1-bedroom the same price. That is not the way to price a unit. Because you think about it, if you go to the hotel, if the ocean view, the price of a hotel versus a view that faces next door's building, the price is very much different. Or a golf course view or a city view. So why don't you price your apartment the same way? Because if you price all the same, your unit that closest overlooking the next door's building, normally nobody is going to rent that unit. So you make sure you price a little different, $50, $100 different. Or also sometimes all your 3-bedroom is not all the same size, right? Or not all the same sizes. So you might want to price different too. Also the bottom floor and the second floor, the bottom floor, the main level tend to be more attractive to the senior. So make sure that you know how to price that too. So make sure that you price it differently. If the property is hard to rent, you price it lower, you get it rent. So that's how you can fill up your vacancy quickly that way. Adding value. So how do you add value how to grow your income? Like I mentioned earlier, if you have a big lot, you can build a storage, pet service area, pet playground, or a car charging station. If I have a unit that has a washer and dryer hookup ready, I may buy a washer and dryer and put it in there. I can charge $100 or more a month. I buy a washer and dryer will cost me probably $1,000, for example. It takes me 10 months to recoup. After that, it will be just generate extra income for me. Other income. Now, one of the ways to grow your income is, we are in a very advanced technology. A lot of time you can do a keyless entry. A lot of time your key, you don't need the key anymore. You can install a type of key that you can use their phone to control the entry. That's one of the way. Also, you can install a what's called light control system. You can dim the light or aircon and heat. You can control from your phone. So let's say you have 105 degrees out there, right? And so hot, and you're coming home from work. You know that you're gonna get home in 30 minutes? So you can just turn on the aircon and leave the light and get the music going from your phone, and then you walk in with your girlfriend or your wife, and boy, it's like ready, welcome home. Yeah, it's very romantic. See, your tenant will pay you more if you have that. So the investment on those things, you only pay one time, and then you recoup after so many months. You recoup, and everything else is just extra income for you. So nowadays, the professional, they love to have certain amenities, like something like that. Yeah. Any more ideas? You good? Okay, so what are the ways to reduce expenses? Now, you grow your income, you want to reduce your expenses, right? number one is the management. So today, what I'm talking to you about mainly is management. How do you manage? Management is a really important skill to have because if you want to invest, you can hire a property manager, but you need to know how to manage first. Because if you don't, you hire the wrong manager, boy, you will be so scared owning investment property because you lose your property, lose all your savings. So it's a real skill to have is time consuming. So either your time or the management company's time. So you have to make sure that you know it first. So today that's what I'm talking about here. Know how to manage your own property. So you can negotiate a set fee, a percentage of management fee with the management company, and also the charges, like bringing the turnover, the tenants and all that. You can negotiate a deal with them. Insurance. A lot of time we tend not to pay a lot of attention on this area, and then our premium is way high. One of the way to look at insurance, you have to look at a policy to make sure that you have adequate insurance for your property. And then also you have to, I tend to look, if you don't have many claims for the year, or you don't anticipate many claims, you may want to increase your deductible. That's one of the ways to reduce your premium, is a higher deductible. If I don't have any claim, I don't need a deductible of $1,000. I can go to $5,000 deductible. By doing that, your premium will lower. Utility. Now, utility, that's many utilities that you pay. You have outside light, you have sprinkler system. You can use a LED light bulb. You can install photo cell. You can install timer. Those are utility expenses that will reduce your cost of your electricity. A lot of time, the trust company, right? If you had to pay attention to your trust, sometimes you have a big trust bin, but it's always half full. Then you know that you have too many pickup. That's why your trust bill is higher. You can reduce maybe one pickup, then your trust bill will lower. That's one of the ways to reduce the expense. Marketing. Again, I'm talking about social media. That's a big nowadays. Banner, yard sign. Those are ways to market. One of the best way to the least expensive to market is friend and family referral. You can talk to your tenant. If you have good operation, your tenant would love to stay in your unit. They will tell their friend, their family to move in. You may provide them maybe $100 if they refer a friend. So those are a very effective avenues to do a friend and family referral with your current tenant. Payroll expenses. If you have a small property, you don't have payroll expenses. But if you have huge property, let's say 100 units, you have full staff. You have a on-site manager, off-site manager, then you have a handyman, full staff, and then you have a accounting department because there's a lot of rent coming in every month. So the expenses is large. In order for you to reduce the expense, you can buy a property nearby, so you can combine the service. You don't have to have two accounting departments. That's one of the ways to reduce your payroll expenses. Remember I told you earlier, if you have, I'm giving an example of large property. That's why you see there's a lot of expenses involved for a large piece of property. Repairing maintenance, R&M. Repairing maintenance is an expense. Now, one of the ways to reduce the repairing maintenance expense is taking care of your tenant. Low turnover, that for sure you already save yourself. At least paint, carpets, and all that. And also, if you have a large property, you can buy your inventory in bulk. For example, if you buy a washer and dryer for a tenant, you can negotiate a deal, buy 10 of them at a time. So that would reduce reduce the price and increase your inventory. Also, hire good handyman and negotiate a set price. Good handyman, it will reduce your repair and maintenance expenses. So the bottom line is, if you can figure out ways to grow your revenue, your income, reduce your expenses, you can grow your NOI, which is the cash flow. So if you know how to do that, you will do well in this business. I mean,
Remodeling you know, like when the tenant leaves, remodeling it to get more cash flow?
Yes.
Is that something that you use?
yes, that's a part of it, yes, part of the operations.
Do you find installing, solar panels help or? not?
In the long term, yes, you can recoup it, or you lower your utility bill, yes. Yes, that's where, if you can do that, that's one of the avenues to reduce the expense.
But the tenants are paying the utility.
Depends. We're talking about the outside light now. The tenant paying their own, then you have the owners, outside light, outside parking light.
House meter.
Yeah,
Yeah, unless you have a good size of apartment. for-
Yeah.
for the solar panel, right?
right.
For 4-5 units, then,
You probably don't need
yeah,
it.
you don't need it.
Yeah, I'm talking about bigger
Common
property.
area, yeah, you don't use much.
Right, right. Yes, see, earlier I tell you that if you have a smaller unit, you can, some of the expenses not applicable, or you can reduce or combine.
Yeah.
So
If
right
you
now,
have
I'm
50 or-
demonstrating the large properties.
Yes.
Yeah,
So it's fun. Do you use a property management company or do you do it yourself?
or either one, either one. Today I'm gonna
Yeah.
explain to you is how you wanna manage yourself. You have to understand that first.
Uh-huh.
And then if you don't have time, you can hire outside manager, but make sure they are good.
Okay?
If they're not good, you're gonna be, all your income gonna be going to them, or you're gonna be negative.
How about, do we have like a investment property outside the state, other states?
Okay, well, that is really the key. Again, that's, you solely rely on a property manager now. If you know how, you have a good property manager, you'll be fine. If you don't have a good property manager, probably in big trouble. You know, that reminds me of a story. One of my acquaintance that I know, he sold a 20 units apartment in Alhambra. And then he went to, I'm not sure which state, I forgot, Virginia or something. He bought 100 units, 99 units there. And they go, wow, I can go from 20 to 99. But little did he know, he doesn't know the area much. The area, the vacancy is very high. He hired the wrong manager. Sometimes they have tenant move in and then receiving cash and never report to the landlord, the owner. So he ended up having to go out there and check on every unit. It's a nightmare. At the end of the day, he lost all the money.
Oh,
Yeah.
horrible.
So the property management is very important. So if you want to get into this business, get your hand dirty, and once you learn it, it's not difficult at all.
So compared to ground up development, I mean, do you do ground up development?
Ground development, well, that's another class itself.
So-
I'm not so experienced in that. I build my own home, but I do not build for others.
So you mostly purchase the existing
Yes.
properties?
Yeah, I'm always look at the cash flow. You know,
Yeah.
I see this property, how much cash flow, current cash flow, and then I tell myself I can see how can I make it into double or triple or increase the value, meaning. So now okay, go ahead, sorry.
How have you dealt with the issue of rising interest rates for mortgages? Do you worry about that, or all of your mortgages, you were able to get them at a lower rate and long periods of time, so you didn't have to worry about a loan coming due in 2024?
Yeah, that's another skill that you need to learn also. If you buy 1 to 4 units, normally the interest rate is fixed for 15, 20, 30 years, just like residential, single family home. But you buy 5 units and up, the interest rate tend to be adjustable, 5, 7, 10 years. So those you have to be very sensitive with where the market is going, where the Fed is going. And then if you have a very high leverage, and then you were, let's say you buy a property 2 years ago, yeah, you may get into problem pretty soon, because your 5-year fix may be end, and then it rise to adjustable. So those things is part of the skill that you have to understand also where the economy is going, where the interest rate is going to. That goes the same with commercial property, yeah.
Tommy, would you be covering the teaching of syndication and all those lending procedures and whatever? in the
I
future?
have a lawyer here, David Fu. He can-
I
know-
Lawyer will cover that, okay.
Yeah, we're talking about in our class, a commercial committee here. We're
Yeah.
talking about, we're gonna have a lot of different classes that's very beneficial
Oh, okay.
for the audience. Yeah, we'll come up with something. Yeah, we're gonna have something. And we have some lawyers in our group. Yeah.
So
now-
have you already set up a course, like course
we did,
details or whatever?
yeah, we put together for the entire year.
Okay.
Laura will.
Oh, okay.
Will be able to send it out to all of you, yeah.
Oh, okay, okay.
We try to find some topic that is more relevant, more time sensitive, such as insurance. It's a
Yeah,
big deal
yeah.
right now. We have a lot of property, even though you're in ESCO, you may not be able to find insurance company for it. It's not like used to be. And then the cost is like almost double and triple sometimes. So I'm gonna share with you the most important, coming up soon, coming up next. Important fact for you to take away. Besides what you learned today, if you know about this one, I think you will be very excited about investing in real estate. It's called cash out refinance. It's tax free.
Oh, yeah.
A lot of people, they don't know, they don't really pay attention to this. Cash out refinance is such a big, huge vehicle for all the investors. And it's tax free, that's really the key. So I'm gonna run through the scenario for you, then you'll see why. Okay, scenario one is called
Grant
long-term hold.
Cardone is
There's my
very
attorney,
happy out
David
there,
Fu.
right?
Yeah, he.
Not charging you today.
Yeah, he will be the one that will talk about syndication if it's needed, to see what he have on his calendar.
Calendar.
Yeah. This is my preference, long-term hold, when I buy properties, and I'll tell you why. For example, you buy a property for $4 million, you put down 35% down. That's how the industry lenders require right now for commercial property. And then, remember I told you to buy a property that needs a lot of work, has an income potential. So you had to come up with another 500,000 to make the improvement, to bring it up to the good condition, ready condition. So 4 million minus 35%, 1.4, then you get a loan for 2.6 million. Now, at the time of purchase, your NOI is 150,000, so that equates to about 3.75% cap. With the 500,000 improvement that you put in, you start to shoveling the tenant. You know, some of them you can increase the rent, some of them moves out, then you bring it to the market rent. The minute tenant moves out, you can bring it to the market rent. So those are potential. So 5 years later, you increase your NOI to 260,000. Now this is a very important piece. When you go to a lender, they always look at your NOI in order to give you a loan. If your NOI is larger, the loan is bigger. If your NOI is small, the loan is less. That's why when we bought the property at the time, it's only 150,000. So the lender say you had to put down 35%, right? So 5 years, this is what you get. So with the 260,000 NOI, the new appraised amount is going to be 7 million, 5 years later. So you go from 4 to 7 million. Then you're going to get the same scenario. The lender going to give you 65% loan to value. 4,550,000. You pay off your old loan, you have 1.95, and then you recoup your investment. Now your investment is 1.4 plus 500. You recoup the investment, you still have the surplus. So in essence, 5 years later, you own the property free and clear. You didn't, I'm sorry, in essence, you buy the property with 0 down. You recoup your initial investment plus the improvement. And you still continue receiving the cash flow. You still have the property. The property provides you cash flow. Everybody with me?
Yes.
Okay. So I'll give you a scenario 2. Fix and flip. Now a lot of people, they buy a property, they fix it up, then the value goes up, they sell it. They make the difference. Fix and flip, same scenario, same 5 years, same NOI. Now if you sell the property for 7 mil, then the closing costs are used 5%, that's including escrow and everything. And then you pay up your first lender. You pay yourself back, we pay your down payment and improvement. Then you're left with 2.15. Now the problem with the fix and flip is anytime you have a capital gain, you have to pay the government capital gain. So not only you pay I use 35% of the capital gain, but then there's a recapture depreciation that you have to pay back for 5 years. So I use just a lump 40%, which is is a reasonable number. Then you will have your net proceeds will have 1.29. Now think about this, 1.29. Then what you left with is no property, no cash flow. You just have 1.29 with you. So what are you going to do with the 1.29 million? 5 years later, you may not be able to find anything that's comparable to what you have. You have to do it all over again. This is not, to me, I don't like this way. I don't want to pay Uncle Sam. I don't want to pay $860,000 to Uncle Sam. And I enjoy the cash flow. So this one, I don't have anything. I just have a lump sum, that's it. If I go to Vegas, this thing will be probably something. Yes?
That 1.29, is that taxable income?
No, it's already after the tax.
After tax.
Yeah.
No tax.
So,
Yes.
If you use you don't pay capital gain, but you use 10 to exchange, should we do that?
Yes, you can do that, yes. That's what I mentioned earlier, yeah, you can do that, yes.
So first,
Or you mean you sell it and then then you don't have to, you sell it with 7 mil, you can parlay into a bigger property, yeah, yes,
and
you
then
can
you
do
have more
that.
cash flow.
Right. And you do it all over again, yeah, you can do that.
So for
Good
scenario
answer.
number
Good
1,
question.
what's the interest rate for the second loan? Normally.
I don't go into all this detail, but I try to compare similar situation,
Okay.
because you can do a 4%, 7%,
But,
I'm just giving you, if you wanna get into that, then it'll be very nitty-gritty.
but normally, what's the normal interest rate for the refinance? Or on interest?
Right now it's about
only loan?
7-8%.
Is that interest only loan?
Depends on what kind of loan you can get. You can get interest only or interest and principal.
Okay.
Yeah. Right. Yes.
Do you share your presentation? Come to the class.
It'll cost you. Yes, I thought about it. Yes, I prepared this myself, so I'm gonna have it emailed to all of you since you already registered into the system. Yes.
Thank you.
Yeah. Right? So you already, if you were to hold the property, right? So next step. So I give you a 5 years late, another 5 years. So you hold it for 5 years, you still have the property. Then another 5 years later, with the inflation, your rent always goes up. Your rent don't go down. So modestly, you increase from 260 to 340. Net operating income, another 5 years later, that's 10 years later total. So with this net operating income, you go to the bank, you say, well, I have this, what do you think my property is worth? Based on that, you get about 9 million plus on the property. So you have a choice, either you wanna say, well, I wanna go to the bank, get a bigger loan, so I can take out some cash, it's fine, it's also work, or it's cash free, you don't have to pay tax on the cash that you're gonna take. Or you can keep the same loan amount, just flip it over, refinance another 5 years or 7 years, then you can enjoy the 340. So that's a lot more cash flow each month versus the 260.
Would this be very difficult for California because they put a 5% cap on, you know?
Yeah, I'm based on the 7% increase, 6% increase. So I'm not aggressive, I'm not putting about 10.
But California has a restriction, right? for
It's 5% plus CPI.
Oh.
So I base on from 260 to 340 is 6% for
Okay.
5 years.
Okay, very
So it's
conservative.
very, what do you call, conservative, yeah.
On the fix and flip scenario, if it's over 5 million, you still have the mansion tax too, don't you?
That's probably another area, yeah. I don't,
In the city of LA.
City of LA.
City of LA.
Yeah.
Only city of LA.
So the word I use is called infinite return. This is such a very important. Think about it. You can do this every 5 years. And you just enjoy your cash, you just retire. You only have to do right on the first property, that's all you can have to do. If you do good on one property, and that will carry you on forever. To me, this is such a powerful way to invest, to operate, and to retire with the cash flow that you receive.
Is it still true these days with commercial building having like half only occupied and then the NOI drastically down?
Well, I would look for those properties to buy. Yes. Yeah.
You were gonna buy those?
Yes, I would look for those properties to buy, but I pay them way below the market. I pay them on their rent roll.
So
See,
your appraiser is, value is mostly based on the cap rate?
yeah, on the rent roll, yes. You know, there's a saying, you're supposed to be fearful when others are aggressive, and then you should be aggressive when others are fearful. You know, Warren Buffett say that. Right now, there's an opportunity if you know how to make things work. So I was telling Stephen, I say, and Johnny, I say that, remember we were back in more than 10 years ago, we had a property, 150 units in Montreal Park. See, this is a good scenario.
Yeah, perfect.
Yeah, we could retire right now, three of us in the Bahamas. Sitting in Bahamas. We didn't know what to do with it, it's called knowledge is power. If you don't have the knowledge, you don't know what to do with it. Somebody tell you something, you don't know what to do with it. My wife and I, back probably 30 years ago, when I was a restaurant manager, she was in banking. She told me that her colleague's husband just bought a property from foreclosed property in Alhambra, 20 units, and we don't even know what that is. What it means? We just let it pass by. But today, if we hear something like that, we know what to do right away. We get on the bandwagon, get on the horse, and just be there and check it out, and then we make things work. So there are many classes I can share with you. There are many ways to learn and to be self-employed, to make a lot of money for yourself. Real estate is really the good vehicle. I can even talk to you in a class that no money down can still buy properties. But it's not easy, but it's doable.
Next time.
Yeah, it's doable. So that's the end of my presentation. Anybody have any questions? Yes. Always have potential for appreciation.